The world got real quiet the moment that video popped up on my phone. 1 minute, I'm scrolling through my usual bullshit, waiting for Sarah to finish getting ready for dinner. The next, my whole damn life is in HD, playing out in front of my eyes, except it wasn't my life. Not really, it was her life. Before me, and it was a gut punch. I'm Mark, 29 years old, an engineer, and until about 10 minutes ago, I was a month out from marrying the woman I thought was my future. Now I'm staring at a screen, watching the woman I'm supposed to spend forever with. Well, servicing 3 different guys. And this anonymous Instagram account is hitting me with "don't marry that My stomach dropped right down to my balls. I met Sarah 2 years ago. She was 25, vibrant, full of life, or so I thought. We clicked fast. Like, real fast. We went from first date to engaged in a little over a year. Wedding planned for February. Yeah, I know. Fast. My buddies gave me shit. But when you think you've found the one, you don't second guess it, right? You just go with the flow. She had this way about her, a vulnerability that made you want to protect her, a spark that made you want to be around her. We talked about everything, or so I thought. Our pasts, our dreams, our non-virgin status. Nothing seemed off. We both admitted to having lives before each other. Who doesn't in their late 20s? I figured we were past that. I wasn't some saint. Never claimed to be, but my past was my past. A few long-term relationships, some casual stuff. Nothing that involved a camera crew and multiple dudes. When I saw that tattoo on her hip in the video, the one I'd seen 100 times, it was like a cold wave washing over me. No blurring of faces could hide that. It was her. There was no denying it. The video was clearly old, the quality a little grainy, but unmistakably her. The anonymous message said it was from a year before I even knew her. I was 22 at the time. She later told me I was doing it just for the thrill and also some money to help finish up college. Money. That word just echoed in my head. Money. Suddenly, all those little things that bugged me, those fleeting thoughts I'd pushed aside, they started to crystallize. I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Pure, unadulterated rage. It started in my gut, a slow burn, then spread through my chest, making my hands clench into fists. My jaw was locked so tight I thought my teeth would crack. The phone felt like it was burning a hole in my hand. I slammed it down on the coffee table, the sound echoing in the silent apartment. I paced, back and forth, like a caged animal. My vision blurred around the edges, a red haze. I could hear my own breathing, ragged and shallow. This wasn't just about a video. This was about a lie, a massive, gaping hole in the foundation I thought we were building. When Sarah walked into the living room, oblivious, humming some tune, I just pointed at the phone, didn't say a word. Couldn't. My throat was tight, like someone had their hands around it. She picked it up, her humming stopping dead. Her eyes widened as she watched the playback, her face draining of color. She dropped the phone as if it burned her. Mark, I can explain. Explain what? My voice was low, rough, barely recognizable. Explain that. I gestured wildly at the phone on the floor. Explain why I'm seeing you, my fiancée, with 3 other guys. For money? What the hell? Sarah. She started with the classic, I don't want to go into details because it's embarrassing. Embarrassing. That's what she was worried about. Not the fact that her entire past had just blown up in my face, threatening to demolish everything we had. She stumbled through some bullshit about being dumb and young and needing healing and therapy. Yeah, I'd say so. Dumb and young doesn't quite cover it when you're talking about a 3-man circus on camera for a price. Then came the deflection. You're only with me because he's an engineer and makes money. She threw that back at me. She was the one who was taking money for services. The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. We both are not virgins when we met, she said, as if that was some kind of equivalence. I didn't have videos floating around of me with a parade of women, taking payment. My past was messy sometimes, but it was mine, and it was private, and it didn't involve transactional sex. There's a fundamental difference between a guy being adventurous and a woman selling her body. One usually means he's seen as a prize. The other, well, it's not exactly something you brag about to your future husband. Sarah, how many men? The question just slipped out. A raw demand. I needed to know. My gut told me the video was just the tip of the iceberg, and I was right. She hesitated, then mumbled. Around 80. My blood ran cold. 80 dudes. My mind, the engineer's mind, started doing calculations, even in that moment of absolute chaos. Average length, multiplied by 80. It was a morbid, almost comical thought. If it wasn't my life falling apart, the image of 35 feet of sausage, as that voice in my head put it, was vivid, repulsive, and then the thought, what if that's the low ball? The conventional wisdom, you triple it. To 106 feet of dick, my head swam. This wasn't just a wild past. This was a whole damn career. My heart was hammering against my ribs. A frantic drumbeat. I walked to the window, staring out at the city lights, but not really seeing them. My breath hitched. I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to make the image of the video, the number 80, the calculation, disappear. It wouldn't. I'm so confused, she said, her voice laced with what sounded like genuine confusion. This was never a discussion before, and now I'm already pregnant with this kid. Pregnant, the word hung in the air. A final, crushing blow. The rage, the confusion. It all coalesced into a sharp, terrifying clarity. My vision tunneled. Pregnant. With this kid, not our kid. This kid. I spun around, facing her. My face probably ashen. Pregnant. You're pregnant. And you're confused. What the hell? Sarah, you think this is a normal reaction to finding out your fiancée was a prostitute? And then on top of that, you drop this bomb on me. Don't you think a paternity test is in order? My voice rose with each word, shaking. I wanted to scream, to smash something, anything. My head felt like it was going to explode. I have never cheated on him, she insisted. The audacity, the sheer, unmitigated gall. She said it like she was a paragon of virtue. Even when we went on a month-long break, I had men trying to sleep with me, but I didn't entertain anything. A break. When did we take a break? This was all new. This was all a lie. I felt like I was in a bad dream, one of those where you're trying to run but your legs are stuck. I just stared at her, unable to form words. My mind was reeling. Every memory, every conversation, every moment we'd shared was now filtered through this new, disgusting lens. Was it all a performance? Was I just another mark? The thought made me sick to my stomach. This woman, the one I planned to marry, to build a family with, was a complete stranger. The next few days were a blur of shouting, silence, and the slow, agonizing death of what I thought was my future. I moved into a hotel. I couldn't stand to be in the apartment, surrounded by her things, by the ghost of what we were supposed to be. I called my best friend, Mike. He's been through some shit himself, divorced, seen it all. I laid it all out. The video, the 80 guys, the pregnancy. He listened, quietly, no interruptions. When I was done, there was a long pause. Jesus, Mark, he finally said, his voice low, I'm sorry. Man, that's a lot. You doing okay? No eyes. Mike, I'm not okay. I'm fucking destroyed. My voice cracked. I don't know what to do. The wedding's in a month. She's pregnant. What the hell do I do? Paternity test. First thing, Mike said, his voice firm. No question. You owe yourself that much. And as for the rest, look, Manon, you can't marry someone you don't trust. Someone who lied to you about something that fundamental. This isn't just a past mistake. This is a pattern of behavior she actively concealed, and the dumb and young excuse for selling yourself. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. And then the body count. Mark, you gotta ask yourself, do you want to build a life with someone who has that kind of history, and who hid it from you, and who still sees nothing wrong with it? It was hard to hear, but he was right. My analytical brain, which had been sidelined by the emotional shock, started kicking back in. My friends, the ones I'd defended her to, the ones who gave me those knowing looks when I talked about how fast things were moving. They saw it. I was so caught up in the idea of the one, the perfect woman, the future I'd envisioned, that I'd ignored the subtle shifts, the inconsistencies, when she'd occasionally make a comment that felt a little off, or when I'd ask about her past and she'd get evasive. I'd tell myself I was overthinking it. I was trying to fix her, or more accurately, trying to fit her into the mold of what I wanted her to be. I had ignored those red flags, believing that my love, my commitment, could somehow erase her past, or that it simply didn't matter. That was my mistake, a big one. I'd trusted her version of events over my own observations, my gut feeling that something wasn't quite right. The comments on that anonymous post, the ones Sarah probably read, started popping into my head. I don't get the obsession with the body count. College is a time to be young and dumb. Your past is your past and does not define you today. It was like these women lived in a different reality. My reality was being blindsided by a hidden life, a life of casual sex for money, and then this collective gaslighting, trying to tell me I was the asshole for having standards, for expecting honesty. If you were a dude, Guys would be worshiping you for sleeping with 3 girls at once and having a body count at 80. Yeah, maybe, but those guys wouldn't be looking to marry that dude. And I wasn't looking to marry a guy. I was looking to marry a woman who was supposed to be my partner, someone I could trust, someone who had a shared vision of a future built on honesty and respect, not deception and a past that felt like a bad dream. My friends rallied around me. They didn't judge. They just offered support, beer, and a place to crash. It was good to be around other men who understood, even without saying it, the kind of betrayal I was feeling. They didn't tell me what to do, but their quiet understanding, their shared glances, spoke volumes. It was a reality check. I went back to the apartment a few days later, not to reconcile, but to get my shit. Sarah was there, looking pale and teary-eyed. She tried again. The same lines. That's not who I am anymore. You're making me feel unsafe right now. You're supposed to support me, not judge me. The therapy speak, the victim language. It was all there. Sarah, I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. I was done with the anger, done with the rage. Now it was just a dull ache. You want to talk about support. Support is being honest. Support is not hiding a life that would fundamentally change how someone sees you. Support is not getting pregnant and then dropping it on me after I find out you were a prostitute. I supported you for 2 years. I believed in you. I planned a life with you, and you just let me walk into this blind. She started to cry harder. You're being such a bitch about it. Fuck you for not understanding. Her voice escalated. The mask was off. The charming public persona was gone, replaced by the bitter, entitled woman underneath. This was the real her, the one she'd kept hidden, the one who refused accountability, understanding. I scoffed. There's nothing to understand. Sarah, you kept a massive secret from me, a secret that fundamentally alters everything I thought I knew about you. And now you're pregnant, and you think I'm the bad guy for being upset, for wanting a paternity test. What kind of world do you live in? She tried to spin it. You're just controlling. I can have male friends. It was a classic deflection. My mind, now clear, recognized the pattern. She'd start a conflict, then play the victim when I reacted, shifting blame, trying to make me feel guilty for her actions. She'd spent my money freely, talking about our future, while guarding her own past jealously. Male friends are one thing. Sarah, 3 dudes on a video taking money is another, and then 80 more that you slept with for thrills and money. Don't play dumb. You know damn well the difference. My voice was calm, almost dangerously so. My blood pressure, which had been through the roof, was starting to settle. I felt a weird sense of clarity, of detachment. I was moving through this, making decisions, not reacting emotionally. I started packing my bags, shoving clothes into a duffel bag, my movements precise, methodical. She kept talking. The accusations flying, the manipulation tactics escalating. If he loves you, then he can work through it. If he can't, then you know he doesn't truly love you. That was the general gist of her argument, a twisted version of love where love meant unconditional acceptance of deception and disrespect. Love isn't blind. Sarah, I said, zipping up my bag. Love is built on trust and honesty, and you destroyed that. There's no coming back from this. Not for me. The paternity test confirmed it. The child wasn't mine. It was a cold, hard fact, a final piece of the puzzle that confirmed my decision. It hurt. Not just for me, but for the innocent child who was being brought into this chaos. I imagine the natural consequences are already unfolding for her. The social circle recognizing her manipulation tactics, the professional reputation damaged by her own behavior patterns, the financial consequences of her entitled attitudes. Her relationship pattern would likely repeat with others, and they'd probably recognize it faster than I did. Her attempted manipulation tactics would no longer be effective, and she'd find herself increasingly isolated, facing the consequences of her actions alone. I ended the engagement. There was no grand dramatic exit, no shouting match, just a quiet, firm declaration that it was over. She protested, of course, but her words held no power over me anymore. I had removed myself from the chaotic situation, gained perspective. I saw the patterns clearly now, how she operated, how she weaponized her past, her emotions, even her body, to get what she wanted, and then refused to take any responsibility for the fallout. My career was a refuge. I buried myself in work, the methodical nature of engineering a welcome distraction from the emotional turmoil. My colleagues noticed I was quieter, more focused, but they didn't pry. My physical health, which had taken a hit from the stress, the sleepless nights, the constant tension in my shoulders, the loss of appetite slowly began to improve. It took time, but the trust recalibration process began. I learned from this. I wouldn't be as naive. I wouldn't ignore those gut feelings, those subtle red flags. I'd be slower to commit, more cautious. And my screening process for future relationships would be a damn sight more thorough. I realized how much I'd valued long-term stability and respect, and that those were non-negotiables. My well-being, my mental health, my financial security, those were my priorities. And I wouldn't apologize for them. This wasn't about being a victim. This was about acknowledging a painful lesson learned. It was about recognizing that sometimes the person you think you know, the person you think you're building a future with, is a completely different person underneath. And sometimes you have to do your detective work, because otherwise you could be in for a very big, very painful surprise, and it's already too late. I was an analytical guy, always trying to logic my way through things, giving the benefit of the doubt. That was my mistake. But I learned, and I'm still here, still moving forward, just a hell of a lot wiser now.